So over here you can see that I got an object, and now we're going to work with shadows in light. So I'm going to go to the light for that, and let me use an infinite light as an example, which just mimics a sunlight. So I'm just going to rotate the light over here, and once I rotate it, you do not actually see any shadows right here, because to see the shadows you have to go over here into options and click on shadows, but still you see that there's no shadow option here. Again, you need to enable the shadows in the lights as well. So I'm going to click on lights. I'm going to go to shadow right here, and in shadow I can choose one of the shadow types which is listed right here. So let me just click on shadow map, and you can see that the shadow is there now. But again, the shadow that you see with the in the viewport itself is actually not how it actually renders. So to get the real feel of it, we have to render it out. So if I were to press Ctrl R, then you see that this is how it renders. So in order to get a proper idea, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the interactive render region. So to do that, I'm going to go over here onto the render area. To the render, I'm just going to click and hold it, and over here there's something called interactive render region. So let me just click on that, and what it does is it allows me to select an area which I want to render it out in a proper quality, as you can see. So this area right here is rendered before rendered in proper quality right here, and this saves the time in just rendering the whole region. So I can just render the area which I want to. So in this case, I just want to render this. So if I zoom in, you can see that that area renders out pretty quick. So I'm going to select the light right here. Now over here, the shadow type that we chose is shadow maps. So now I'm going to go on to the density. Let's see what these settings are. So if I were to decrease the density, you can see that it changes the amount of density onto the object right here, as you can see. So it changes the darkness of it. You can also choose the color of the shadow right here. So I can go to something like red shift color right here and select shadows. Something like this color right here, dark red, and you can see that this type of shadows actually appear. Transparency is the shadow transparency, which we're not going to look at right now. Shadow map is the resolution of the shadows right here. Right now it's 250 by 250, but if I were to increase it, you can see that the shadows is much crisper, and it takes 32 megabytes to render. So I'm just going to leave it by 500 by 500 because I do not want it to be too low quality. And you can see that this is the sample radius. So if I were to increase this out, it actually increases sample, makes the shadow a lot more softer, as you can see right here. So this is simply an image. You can also increase the level of absolute bias right here, so to make the shadow more softer, as you can see right here, just like this. You can increase the bias right here to make the shadows more softer or more crisper over here. So there's also the parallel width and so forth, which you can actually mess around with. You can also outline the shadows right here, so you only see the outline of the shadow. You can also enable the shadow cone right here and change the angle of the shadow right here, and change the angle just like that to make it more softer. So let me just disable this out. So you can see that there's a lot of options actually given by the shadow right here. But this one is shadow maps. That is the quickest way to render a shadow. The other one that you have is the ray trace. That is the hard shadows right here, which brings up a proper shadow. So works well with the transparent object as well. So over here, I can increase and decrease the density right here. Let me just keep the color back to dark right here, so you can increase and decrease the density right here. You can work around with the transparency. So if the object is transparent, then this will actually show up, and this is quite straightforward, as you can see. But the shadows generated by these type of ray trace shadow engine is pretty harsh, which is not really the case when you're see things in reality. The other type of shadows right here is the area, and which is the most realistic type of area shadows. So it actually creates something like an area light reference over here, and you can see that the shadows in the beginning are soft, and as it goes further it is more softer, just like in real life. So I can increase and decrease the density. You can control the transparency right here as well for transparent objects. You can increase and decrease the accuracy right there as well. So I can have a 0% accuracy where it does not pay much attention, or you can increase the accuracy. The samples right here is the shadow quality, as you can see. So I can say minimum 40% quality or like something like 92% quality, but you have to note that as I increase the level of quality, it also increases render time. So these are just different type of shadows available for you to use when you work with Cinema 4D. So this actually works around with when you need what. So maybe if you don't want to focus on much detail, shadow maps may be the way to go. And when you actually need the shadow details in a realistic way, maybe you want to go with area light, depend on what you actually want to go for. So that is how you can work around with lights inside of Cinema 4D. Hope you guys learned something as always. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.